Much respect, everybody. My name is Tolumide. I do have CDs for sale here today, but I also have them online on my website, tolumidemusic.com. I'm honored. This video actually got me recognized. It got a lot of airplay on MTV Base in Africa, so I'm grateful that I've been able to kind of merge into the Afro-pop industry with singing about, pretty much what I am inspired to sing about. Thank you so much. Much respect.
Please put your hands together. Big up Tolumide. Go to the website, YouTube, you'll see her MTV Big Star, Nigeria Mega Star. All right? If you need her to come perform for you, she'll do that. Right now, right about this time, I want to call my MC, Mr. Jude, Mr. Grammatarian, to come and bombard you people with grammar now. Bros, kid them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the keynote speaker of this occasion, most appropriately, in clarity and succinctly put, is the United Nations Special Rapporteur on human trafficking worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, founder of Women's Aid Coalition. Ladies and gentlemen, former commissioner of in Enugu State of Ministry of Gender Affairs and Social Development. She's a member of the very distinguished Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, law professor of the Faculty of Law in University of Nigeria in Assoc. Ladies and gentlemen, she has authored so many books and has one to exhibit today. Ladies and gentlemen, her intellectual sass is matched by her beauty. A combination of brain and beauty. Ladies and gentlemen, she is also best among 125 women who have impacted the world. Round of applause for her. Ladies and gentlemen, she is also a high chief, a very rare honor for a woman in Igbo land, popularly called tell me the name. Please, okay, on our okay, I see that one, I won't know the map of so, cause I dare Jemba. Nzebonachi, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for a woman who is timelessly timeless. A man of unassailable intellectual sass and the mental effervescence.
Thank you very much. The chair, the distinguished chair of the occasion, the president of Enugu State Association, Washington, D.C., distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I think I want to appreciate the organizers of this event for this initiative to talk about something so intimate, something happening everywhere, in homes, private spaces, public spaces, cutting across class, geographical location, what have you. Old, young can be victim of violence against women, gender-based violence, and domestic violence specifically. I know the night is fast spent and it's already morning, and for me also, who is a bit jet lagged, then I've lost because I've been awake since 3 a.m. And when I look at my time, Nigerian time now, it's supposed to be, is it 5:30? And I know by tomorrow I'll be on flight to Bangkok, and God knows, 12 hours again behind. So you can imagine my predicament in trying to recover from all of this jet lag from one continent to the other. But when we talk about domestic violence, I just want to tell you about what we do and what we do. It's not long grammar. Because when people are in denial, just like the work I do for United Nations, I was appointed UN Special Rapporteur since 2008. And I travel globally, reporting to General Assembly in New York, reporting to Human Rights Council in Geneva, monitoring, undertaking country missions to different countries in the world. that when we talk about human trafficking, we put face to it. And countries who are in denial will say, this is not something to be in denial. This is happening. This is amongst us. And we can talk to victims. And victims speak out, spotlight victims, and we see. And that's basically what I want to do. In this, I just want to start from, we can start from the beginning. We know that when we talk of domestic violence, because we're taking an aspect, a subset of broad category of violence against women or gender-based violence. Because violence can be, of course, physical, sexual, psychological, and it can also be a category domestic, which means it happens in private sphere, within the private sphere. And within that, it can be spousal, wife, battery. It can become rape, sexual abuse, and exploitation of children within the family. It can be also trafficking in persons. It can be female genital mutilation. It can be also, you see, acid attack. All sorts of things. Dedication to deity, because some families still do it. In some parts of even Igbo land. So I just want to do photo speaks and introduce WACOL in my paper, and I have a long presentation trying to introduce WACOL. And again, for the association, I'll give them a copy of this book, which I wrote on women, law, and human rights. And I have a full chapter and others talking about just domestic violence and violence against women. So I wouldn't waste your time, but just to show faces of violence. And this is based on the work that WACOL do in Nigeria and in Enugu State particularly. Some of you may have heard about WACOL, Women's Aid Collective. WACOL, by the grace of God, I was the founder of WACOL, and WACOL started in 1997. And today, of course, it has an observer status with the United Nations and also the African Union, and African Commission on Human and People's Rights. And our headquarters is in Enugu State, because that's where we started. And we have offices across Nigeria, in Port Harcourt, Owerri, Abuja, Ebonyi, Katsina, and all of that. And one of the main work we do, and that's also because of my profession, is free legal aid to women and children in difficult circumstances. And we started providing that since inception. And by 1998, we also introduced shelter for battered women, and later on we expanded it to include women and children also in difficult circumstances, accommodating them at the peak of crisis. By 2001, WACOL has built its own shelter, and the first to do so in Nigeria, a safe haven for women who are at the peak of crisis. Today, WACOL is a household name. Some of you, if you're here, you can call your people and say, what about WACOL? They will even bring you to the office without any. So it is household name. Everybody knows the work we do. Every day, if we don't receive cases, it's about 10 cases per day. On Monday, like tomorrow, that will be Monday, after a long weekend, we'll get up to 20 or more cases. So in some of what I'm showing you is about some WACOL cases. Look at this case. I was in the office when this woman came. And last year is the spouse, the husband. Please, just one picture at a time. You see her, the husband, so, just the man, I don't know whether he used to be a boxer, but you need to see this woman to see the kind of injury, because he cannot even, he's not showing well. But he used even bottle on her private part and then gave her this will. And when we saw this, we said no. Because when it comes to husband and wife matter, we normally try to mediate. We use litigation as a last resort. And because we're always thinking of the long-term relationship, we don't want to do something that would be inimical to that. We try to see how we resolve. But this one, we said this is just too much. When we brought the man, we said, no, you're going to just spend some time in jail. That this is too much. And then, of course, we got the police. He was arrested. Finally, you see, even the woman started begging. And then I said, after all this, you have this forgiving mind. Okay, we are interested in the marriage also working. But you have to sign an MOU to us. And then with the police involved and magistrate, that you're not going to beat her. You're not going to violate her in this way. And if you do that, then straight to jail. And with the help of magistrate police, the man quickly signed the undertaking, because he was already seeing himself at the corridor of prison. So that's how it was run. Look at the second case. Look at this. Just to show you that violence doesn't know age. There is no age boundary. An old woman can be a victim. Young women are also victims. So look at that woman, at least she's not less than 65 years old. And she's still facing spousal abuse and domestic violence connected to denial of inheritance right as a widow. Because that is also very prevalent in Igbo land. Whenever a man dies, the first person to be accused is the wife. If she survives that accusation, the next is that they wouldn't allow her to inherit from the estate of the deceased husband. And men, of course, you dare not suggest will making. But we, Wakol as mouth speak, we are talking about that. We are talking about next of kin palaver. Because in this case, sometimes men, it's very common, before they get married, they are working, they name their brother as next of kin. But next of kin in law, and I'm a lawyer, doesn't mean you're the one to inherit. So whenever they say, oh, I'm the next of kin, they will be the first to go, clear away every property you can, anything tangible. It is very common, including land. And if the woman comes, we used to think because if they don't have male children, but these days you see also ones with male children and they are facing the same problem because some people want to grab and rip where they didn't sow. So next slide, please. So you look at this one, is also wife buffering. She nearly lost her eye on this. Look at another case. She was also hospitalized as a result of serious bodily harm from spousal violence. And these women are women, just call it working class women, successful entrepreneurs, highly educated women, medical doctors, lawyers, all of that come to our office. Our services at the inception is supposed to be pro-poor. But you see these women coming and saying they have no other place to turn. And we say, madam or whoever, you can afford the service. We are looking at the poor. And over time, we can't just say no to them. Because even if they are rich, the rich also cry. And they have a problem and they want somewhere, an outlet where someone they can talk to at the peak of crisis. Another set of abuse, because when we talk of domestic violence, it doesn't just mean also women. That also children are involved, including boy, child. And when it comes to the one that is very prevalent is this house help phenomenon in our own environment, which of course people don't have the luxury of. Of course, if you try it here, even with the US law, the person will be in jail and for a long, long time under the TIP law. Of course, I work with the State Department, and while I was there, I was at meeting with the Anti-Trafficking Division. And I work closely with them, and I know all the cases they've handled. For even those who have tried to bring people from Nigeria and use them, held them in domestic servitude or slavery, is zero tolerance. It is totally abhorred here, and you cannot get away with it. But in Nigeria, not only will they use them as slaves, the kind of violence they visit among these young people, sometimes some as old as 9, 8, and you're wondering why parents give away that, and why people cannot treat fellow human beings decently. Next slide. So you can see this. This is done by a madam. Yeah? This is a house help. You see? And then some of them, there was one they used razor blade. I was asking them, send me that slide, I've been traveling. They did it from head to toe. Because the madam said she's a witch. And this girl was so young, I have to take her to my house. That day I couldn't bear it. And the woman was heavily pregnant. I said, no, you have to spend time in prison with your husband. And I made sure she spent. I said, look, madam, you are expecting you have children of your own. And you're not going to treat another person's child like this and get away with it. Yeah. Not with us. The work of Wakol is so, people who are bringing these cases to us now. Some are teachers, neighbors. They report and we go on rescue mission. We take our vehicle, mobile legal clinic. We go. So people come. They are surprised. How did you come to know? And you see them shaking, crying and say, look, they have others who can speak for them. How can you do this on somebody's child? This with an iron, hot iron. They add pepper on it, on top of it, water. Next slide. So now we work with UNICEF, United Nations Children's Fund, to specifically assist children in this sort of situation. Next slide, please. This one, she has lost her eye, actually, from an injury from her husband. She lost that eye, if you look at it. So next slide. You see this woman, already broken arms and all of that from wife battle. The woman beaten and injured by husband, you can see them. It's every day. This is our office. All these pictures are taken in our office. Look at that. You can look at, this is also child abuse from domestic servant, house help phenomenon. Look at, you see the wound, the injury on his body. Next slide. You see that boy, see how old. Is that boy up to 6 years and is living with somebody? And that person is harming him. Look at him. I don't meant to, at least you have had your dinner, but I know this thing can be very depressing. I saved even, there are some I didn't put out because I don't want to really shock you and then traumatize you this evening. Because it's really trauma. For those who are working now in our legal aid, counselors and lawyers, you see them crying every day. Sometimes some of this is unbearable. They will follow, they cry with the client. We try to also provide them psychosocial support so that they don't burn out because it's overwhelming. Look at that woman, you could have seen Wako here. So we do all of that. And the problem is not abating. The fact that absence of law, culture, about expectations about a wife, and even women not wanting to report, everybody is ashamed, how do you break the silence? You know, so that is the major problem. Please go back on this. I just want to talk about this center that we started newly. Apart from the legal aid we are doing, we just noticed an increase in incidents of sexual abuse, even of very young children, girls. And then the rape. But the young children, because people are in denial, including incest, what we think it happens in the Western world also is happening, but it's always happening. But it's just that people are in denial and people don't want to speak out and people don't want to report about it. So from the cases that we were seeing, we said there was need to have a specific center, one-stop crisis center devoted to sexual assault. And that's how we started this center called Tama. For those of you who are Christians, you will know Tama in the Bible, and the first woman to be raped in the Bible, who was the daughter of David by the brother. So that's how we took the name. So it's Tama Sexual Assault and Referral Center. And we wanted to just call it Tama SAC, so people don't just always associate it with sexual assault. Say Tama SAC. So this place is located also at the FSP Medical Center, because the idea is a hospital-based intervention, but also linking other support services, including having counseling, also legal, and any other referral that is important. So this we started with Enugu State Government, Ministry of Gender and Social Development, which I've also worked as a commissioner, was appointed a commissioner in that ministry in 2003. And then the ministry still is the one in charge of issues around this, Ministry of Health, because of the component and the dimension of the healthcare services that we are providing to this, because we have to screen, do full free medical treatment. That's what we are doing in the center. Next slide, please. So this is, we renovated this place entirely. The section we are using is the reception area, and this is the corridor of Tama SAC. This is one of the offices, the doctor's room. Recently, we had training, forensic training, and we brought people. Actually, the project is funded now by the DFID, Justice for All. DFID is the Department for International Development of the government of British government. So it's funding this, and we have MOU with the government of Enugu State. And the idea is that we want this center to start it as, professionally, do international best practice, introduce it, build capacity of government officials, and then we pull out as WACO, because we are the managing organization, and then the government can run it and sustain it and start providing for it in their budget. That's the entire idea. So for now, this is how we just opened for business 2 months ago. We started 2 months ago. It's brand new. We are doing all the trainings. We've recruited staff, and then some government officials are on secondment from both Ministry of Health full-time to the center, and then from Ministry of Gender and Social Development. So we did training on forensic training, and people came from Manchester, St. Mary's Hospital. They did counseling. We had people, a lot of people come from Britain for the exchange program. So we've trained all the people we need in Parkland Hospital, where we also do referrals among some selected private hospitals and government and some missionary hospital like Annunciation and all of that. Recently, we have partnership with police, because always we have to refer to the police for cases of child sexual abuse. We say automatically we have to go to the police. For the adults, they have to decide whether they want to prosecute or not. But for cases of children, it has to be automatic, because we have to stop the rapist. So the Commissioner of Police in Enugu State paid us visit about last 2 weeks in the center with his team, some DPOs, because they have buying. Totally, police has bought into that in the state. So they are doing referral as well, and we're also doing referral reporting with the police doctor and all of that, just to make sure that it's done. The Ministry of Justice as well is involved, and the forensic training, the Director of Public Prosecutor's Office, all of that, Attorney General, they were all mobilized and they were there. So that's the Commissioner of Police just inspecting the center. Next slide. So this is a visit by forensic trainees. You can see they were just visiting the center. This is the training we had on counseling. You will see me there. And then some other participants at the training. So when you look at this, so why are we doing this? Because the support services is so crucial for victims to become survivors. Because sometimes people don't survive their victimization because they don't have the real help, the help they need. And counseling and psychosocial support is very important. And we want to also help to break the silence so that people can speak about this. So instead of people committing murder, we're not saying always that maybe because women are victims or women are right. Domestic violence, there are people, these days I'll tell you, men even come to Wako to report cases, including their wives and their sisters, for their aunties, for their moms, for their relations. They will call me, I'm a commissioner, oh, I have my sister's property is being taken, his late husband, or people come and report their wife, and when we look into it, we will see that the woman also needs selling, support. We start talking to her. We try to mediate and say, look, even some women will bring complaints against their husband. And we have to investigate. We don't listen to just, we must invite the husband. Depending on the matter, if it's denial of inheritance, we have to invite the entire family. Even the traditional rulers also participate in that. So we don't just say, once you bring the case, then you're ready, you're the winner, and we take it up without involving them. Because sometimes, of course, we know, not some if and atife, but we again know that you have to have, even as a man, a boundary. Say you won't cross this line. And once you start, wife battery is not a way to either deal with a nagging wife or to say that's the way to deal with a wife who is this or that or infidel. No, you have to set your own boundary. Violence cannot solve any problem. We have to just not take it. There is no justification in short for violence. So that is why we say this is a noble initiative. And there are many people really in trouble, enslaved completely, but for the help, especially these widows, that Wako offer them their property, their economic status, even the future of their children completely jeopardized because someone has taken what belongs to them. Even sometimes they just come, the man died, the relations decide to take away all the children from the woman. That's already psychologically killing. There was one we were just handling before I came over here. And the woman is saying, how can you take away my whole children? And he said, you can't take away, even if you want to help her. That's not the way. You cannot meet and decide that you take away all her children in order to help her because the husband is dead. You have to involve her. She is their mother. So, but you see people take this kind of decisions arbitrarily in our environment. And sometimes we just think we just take it for granted. So I just want to plead with all of you. Please, it is important and very good that it's men. This is Enugu State Association and led by men. I want to thank in particular Mr. Paul and then also Mr. Harrison, Harry Baba. I hear all of you call him Harry Baba. I know Harrison was, they really tried to get me. I mean, it was not easy, and they kept tracking me, especially Mr. Harrison. Everywhere, every day, at least I said, I will come. I just said, I will come. And they didn't, just believe. But I know this is dear to me. It's a project dear to me. This is what I do. This is the work I've done for over 2 decades. At the university, even the teaching I do. I started teaching even women's law and women and children's law. I introduced it into curriculum, and NUC have adopted it since 1997. And other faculties are buying into that, and they're all teaching that. And they said, because now we need to know about this. And this is the way of blending scholarship and activism to make sure we engage in the kind of scholarship that is meaningful, that works towards bettering humanity, that will help to promote the values we all want to see. Because violence really affects children. You will not know how much it affects children in a family. And I think children also have a right to even say we want to live a violence-free life. Just like women, they have a right to live a life free from violence. So I just want to give this copy. I didn't bring copies for sale, but I want to give this copy also to Enugu State Association. And then my presentation and some of this slide I hope you will see later. And I want to thank you again, and I hope people can buy into this project. Thank you.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, before she leaves the floor, this is the reason we're here tonight. We want to dance, we have eaten, we are merry, but this is a somber occasion in view of what she has enunciated. The mastery of material, her intellect, her legal stamina, the UN and Nigeria is happy to have her. Ladies and gentlemen, a louder round of applause for a lady who has exceeded the expected. He has succinctly packaged the whole thing, and she has set the tone that the next speaker have already assured me of the brevity of her speech, because almost everything she left no stone unturned. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a magnificent.
Can you play the 1 minute, the advert, what we have now, playing in NTA, FRCN, Dream FM in Enugu? We have this 1 minute information just to help break the silence on rape. We have it both in English and Igbo. In FRCN, it plays the jingles like 6 times a day, in NTA 2. And we are inundating the entire state, in Enugu State now, with this information. It's the CD one, the one you were playing earlier on. Yeah, so you just get back. It's 1 minute. It's just 1 minute. So people can.
It says women law and human rights, global and national perspectives. Joy Ngozi Ezielu. Prof. Please put your hands together for her. I tell you, listen, in as much as I wasn't serious earlier, when it comes to women and children being abused in Africa, it is, I mean, like, it is really crazy what is going on in that place. You think maybe, you know, it's something else. You know what I mean? So please, we need your support tonight. We've been speaking too much of English, and English alone will not solve the problem. Because it's English that we've been speaking since 1960, and Nigeria will not fix it yet. We've been speaking